So hopefully everybody can see and hear us now. So hi everybody, and thank you all so much for joining us for this breakout session. Okay, there seems to be video problems for some people, but other people can hear us. So we will continue, and hopefully everybody can hear us clearly and we'll still be able to participate in the discussion. So thank you all so much for joining us for this session on building community. How can NeurotechEU reach you? My name is Tara, and I'm one of the student representatives for NeurotechEU, and along with Laura, we will be chairing this session this morning. So as this is a discussion session, I would really encourage you to be forthcoming with any opinions or thoughts or suggestions that you have. You can use the chat function to write any suggestions, or you can actually also put it in the Ask a Question section if you would prefer to do that. So we have a few general questions to lead the discussion this morning, and we also have a few poll-like questions, which we will be coming on to a little bit later. But just remember that this session is for you and for your opinions, so please make the most out of it and post any opinions and thoughts that you have. So unless Laura has anything to add, we can start with the first question.
Yeah, I think we can start, but I think some people are also having problems with the video, but I don't know what can we do. If they can hear us, we can continue, and then let's see if later if it works. Or
yeah, hopefully. I think the video was lagging for some people as well in the first session, so
okay.
Yeah, it's an issue with the Crowdcast platform, but hopefully you guys can still stay with us. Okay, so because this session is all about building a community, we wanted to start off this breakout session by asking in our first question, how should we start to build this community? So the first question is, if you would like to read it as well in the Ask a Question section, is which do you think should be the first step in promoting awareness about NeurotechEU? So there's lots of different ways that we could promote awareness about NeurotechEU. But as a first step to do it most effectively, one option could be to start from a top-down approach, where we would contact presidents and chairs of universities and allow them to disseminate information to their students? Or would it be more effective to directly contact students? Maybe this will allow students to see it faster and engage with NeurotechEU faster. So if anybody has any suggestions about this, please feel free to post them into the chat. This is quite a general question to start off with, but we will be moving on to poll-type questions a little later so you can directly vote. But we'd really like to hear what you guys think about these first steps, since this program is only just kicking off and we're still in the planning phase, as Tansy said in his speech, in this 2021 to 2023 period. So I can't see anything yet in the chat.
So you should vote in the polls. In the two first questions are related to this general one. So if you think the student representative should go to universities in a in a post-pandemic scenario, and we can go and talk with the students, also in conjunctions with the digital means, in social media or wherever, and depending on what do you vote in this particular question, we can discuss if digital means are sufficient or not. So most of the students are voting that the students should go, and that not only digital means are sufficient. So if so why do you think, guys, it's important to go to universities, not only to be through a screen, but also go there and speak by ourselves to the students? Why do you think it's important to do that? Okay.
Maybe we could ask Robert to expand just a little bit in the chat, if that's what he's most comfortable doing, of what he means by community challenges and how they would help. I'm not really sure. What do you mean, Robert, by community challenges? If you could expand, that would be. Okay, just while we're waiting for Travis, Jennifer says to learn social interaction skills, to learn how to work with others and to learn from others. Yeah, they're all really, really good points, and difficult things to do when we're just talking about a digital environment. Jennifer, we can invite you to the stage if you'd like to expand on those points, or if you're more comfortable just in the chat, just type what you think. So, yeah, it's quite interesting that 70% of people say that digital means are not sufficient to build a community. Okay, Jennifer prefers chat. Okay, so Travis has replied, yeah, that's a very good point. He says, so I'm a PhD student in neuroimaging, and applied, and I was thinking something around the lines when, if you hit a bottleneck in your research, that you send a community challenge to the neurotech community to help to solve. So yeah, that would be a really good application of what we could potentially do in this community. But as well, it could be done through digital means. And it's interesting that in his talk at 9, Tansu mentioned that one of the things that we're trying to set up now is this NeurotechEU Plus digital campus. So there is a lot of potential useful things that could be done through this digital campus, but most people seem to think that it's not completely sufficient to build a community. And Dora says it is much more powerful to meet in person and to build relationship in person rather than virtual ways. Dora, would you like to come to the stage and say a few words?
Come on, guys, don't be shy. Okay, yes. So I think I agree with Dora that yes, to meet in person and build relationships in person, it's more powerful. But with the pandemic situation, we've seen that maybe we have to adapt to this new kind of interaction. So it's something to think about. If most of us still think that it's important to meet in person, it's something to take into account just in order to create that university of the future, no? So one important thing is that all of this is being recorded. So if you want to remain anonymous, please, if I invite you on stage or wherever and you don't want to appear at some point, please don't accept that particular invitation, okay?
Hello.
Hello.
Hi, Tara, and hi,
Laura.
you. It's nice to meet you. Actually, I'm a student of electrical engineering, and I wanted to ask you a question about can we really go with the thing you're doing here right now, like the whole neurotech this course you're doing here, like will it be like really difficult for us to follow along with you in this neurotech EU, like, or the engineers or the other guys can go like rather with you?
So I think the European University of Brain and Technology will be providing kind of a flexible, very diverse range of courses that's focused around neuroscience and technology. So I would think that engineers could easily participate and join and get a lot out of the courses that would be offered. I think for the first phases, it's more about kind of boot camps and training opportunities around these areas rather than actual degree courses. But definitely, I think engineers would really benefit from this program.
Thank you. Thank you very much, because just before you were here, there were two guys. We were listening to them, and they just, I don't know, went off somewhere. So they were like, they had this medical background. So I was thinking, if it's medical background, then it would be like really difficult for us to go along with it. Like,
no, I don't think it's just people with a medical background, and I think that that's what's so great about it, that it will be across universities, that it will be so interdisciplinary, that there will be something in neuroscience and technology that would kind of that could be applied, or that would work well with kind of a lot of different backgrounds, engineering or a medical background. So yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for this. So kind of you.
Yes, one of the purposes of the project is that it's to have a multidisciplinary, group and people from medical and health background, also engineering, maths, social sciences. All of you are welcome to join.
That's great. That's great. And we will be able to follow along with you for sure. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you for joining us and for coming on stage.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. So Jennifer also raised a very good point in the chat, but she does not want to come on stage. She says, building an online community means dedication from teachers, but also support for teachers is crucial. And she asks, are our teachers really equipped with how to create a sense of belonging through digital means? So that is interesting, because I mean, we've all had to adapt to working digitally, especially in these times of the pandemic. And I know that many education providers actually do struggle with creating kind of a digital means of giving education. So I know that this Campus Plus, which is the digital campus that Neurotech is setting up in these first 2 years, would do everything they can to support teachers. But maybe another question is, how is the best way to support our teachers along with our students? Should we organize meetings like in person once every few months? Would that be sufficient? I'm just trying to see if there's any. And then, I'm sorry, I can't pronounce the name, but somebody else in the chat added, I think meeting with face-to-face gives more of a powerful relationship and people can ask whatever they think and want to be sure they're more comfortable. Yeah, so that's also a good point. So for example, because today's session is being recorded, many people don't want to be recorded and put on YouTube. So that's a barrier to communication. You know, it might be easier if we were all just sitting around in a room face-to-face. Having a conversation. So that's a great point too. Yeah. So if anybody else wants to add anything to Jennifer's question about supporting teachers and other education providers, please feel free to put it in the chat, or even just let us know that you would like to be invited to the stage, and then we can give you the floor and you can share your video. Okay, so if I just read out Dora's comment first. For me, it would help to grab the concept of neurotech better if I could get an insight into how the representatives of other fields can join this initiative. So Dora is a public health master's and a student in mental hygiene. Where could I join? So I'm a PhD student in neuroscience, and Laura, you are?
Me also. I'm also a PhD student in neuroscience. Yeah.
Okay. So both of us are from one of the 8 universities that have joined together to set up this NeurotechEU initiative. So for me, I was contacted by my university that NeurotechEU was looking for student representatives from each of the 8 partner universities to play a role in the setup of this incentive. So there are, well, in my university, there's 3 student representatives that have been elected. I'm not sure about you, Laura.
We are 4 main student representatives, yeah.
Yeah. And so there's roughly about 3 or 4, I think, in each of the 8 partner universities. And we're working together currently as the student group. But I'm not sure when they plan to expand it or how they plan to expand it into other universities to become partner institutes. And I'm not sure if there might be opportunities in the future for students that aren't necessarily from the partner institutes to become involved as a student representative, because so far it's just students from the 8 partner institutes that have these roles as representatives. But I would say that your degree type would not be any kind of barrier or obstacle for you to become involved with NeurotechEU. Speaking from the point of view of the representatives at the University of Oxford, I am a PhD student in neuroscience, but we also have an undergraduate in engineering who's also a student representative, and other representatives from a wide variety of medical background and neuroscience background. So to answer your question on where could I join, the short answer is right now, I don't know if you're not from one of the partner institutes, but I do think that they do plan to expand it into other universities in the future over the next few years. So back to Jennifer's point on supporting teachers and academics. So what are the best ways to support our teachers, since academics are not necessarily trained for teaching? And Judith suggests that the Lifelong Learning Centre should provide support for teachers as well, and provide a pool with learning possibilities. So yeah, these are all great points. I think that maybe like a skills course, well, a specific training course, first of all, for teachers might be needed, especially to adapt not only to in-person teaching, but also digital teaching. And maybe a support group as well, where teachers from different institutes can come together and share concerns or problems that they're having. That might be helpful as well after these training sessions. But again, because it's the Lifelong Learning Centre, these training sessions shouldn't be just provided at the start. It should be continuous, and they should be given continuous support along with the students that they are educating. So all I can do is just completely agree with the points in the chat. And then Dev asks, in order to understand further and play a pivotal role in the development of NeurotechEU, how can we find out who our student university reps are? Laura, do you have any?
Sorry, I was writing something. That which particular question you are now?
I'm just reading out the question from Dev. In order to understand further, how can we find out who our university reps are for NeurotechEU?
Well, it's a very good question. But maybe you should go to the to your university heads who are you know, being part of the project, and then just send them an email, and maybe they will give you the emails or the names of the students that are representing the university. Mm-hmm. It also should be taken into account, yes, how to already present us to our students, to the students in our university, and say, okay, we are the student representatives, so if you want to ask something to us, or yeah, so, but for the moment, maybe you can write to the heads of your university, and we'll give you your names.
But that's a good point. For these specific partner institutes where there are student reps already available, that it's an idea for the student reps to create some kind of community, maybe on Telegram or Slack or even Facebook, for other students who want to be engaged with NeurotechEU, to open up community, to open up communication within our institutes that are already involved in NeurotechEU. So yeah, that's a good point, Dev. Thanks for that. Mm-hmm. So we have some more questions on the Ask a Question section.
Yes.
So there's one question here from, okay, and then we just have a reminder in the chat that the workshop will come to a conclusion at 10. And after that, your browser will automatically reroute you to the round table session. Okay, so we have 3 minutes left. So I'll just quickly read out this question. How will master and doctorate programs be established? Are there any plans yet about this subject? So in the first phase, which is 2021 to 2023, it's just bootcamp kind of training certificate type courses is my understanding. I'm not exactly sure how these programs will be established. I know that they're currently working on getting some set up across the institutes that are already involved across these 8 founding institutes of NeurotechEU. But that won't be until after 2023, I think, is the plan currently.
So maybe just to summarize, because there are 2 minutes left. So just to comment that in the poll, in the third question, if the shitty communications are group related with NeurotechEU be regulated at local university level, or they should be part of a global interconnected network. Both of you have said that both options are the good ones. So yes, if anyone want to add something about this particular point.
Alina asked a question in the question section about the NeurotechEU graduate school. How will mobility be? So yes, my understanding is one can choose to go to another university aside from one's country, and there will also be opportunities for doing exchanges, either research, internship, or study-based exchanges in another university. And I assume that there would be some sort of financial support provided for that, although I'm not sure exactly how much or what that would be. But I do think that you can definitely go to another university aside from one's country, because we're trying to promote a cross-campus interdisciplinary university. So yeah, is the answer to that.
So thank you, Tara, for this great chair of the session. And thank you very much, all of you, for coming, for your very interesting suggestions and questions.
Thank you, everyone. Hope you have
a lovely
day. Bye.
Bye.